Welcome to the Stoic Responder Podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Healy. As a special agent who spent more than 15 years conducting large-scale fraud, money laundering, and public corruption investigations, Stoic philosophy provided a mindset edge that became the foundation of my professional success. My mission today is to share those same ancient mindset lessons with you so that you can turn obstacles into opportunities and adversity into advantage. Time to muster up. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoic Responder Podcast. This is episode 110. Stay in the present moment. Let's start you out with a quote here from Seneca. They lose the day in expectation of the night, and the night in fear of the dawn. This is a part of a larger quote, but this is a theory that gets kicked around a lot by different Stoics. The idea of the three domains of time, past, present, and future. Now, the future is unknowable. The past is dead to us. We've read that. We've talked about that on the podcast before, about how literally every moment up until the present moment, you are dying and you cannot regain that or get that back. And you have to consider life that way. And you have to take what you have left and live it the right way, knowing that there is no guarantee that you're going to get tomorrow. So that you need to look at every single day as an opportunity to live a full and complete life. And that's what Seneca is saying here. We've heard this before. We've talked about this before. This is just kind of encapsulating it in a really nice single sentence quote. They lose the day in expectation of the night, and the night in fear of the dawn. So what does this mean practically in your modern life? Well, if you're law enforcement, I know a lot of you that are listening to this podcast are law enforcement. You are first responders. You're individuals who operate in fast, uncertain, and rapidly evolving situations. And you come to this career, constantly, on the razor's edge, right? You're never sure what the next call is going to bring, what the next moment's going to bring, where you might be, what you might be asked to go do. You never know when, the big thing that becomes the national news story of the day is going to be on your doorstep, right? And so, we have to live life to a certain extent in that present moment. A lot of this can be trained into us just by virtue of going through a law enforcement academy. Whether your academy was 3 months long or 6 months long, a simple rule probably applied for you while you were trying to get through it, which was take it one day at a time. Now, you may not have realized you were doing this. I certainly realized I was doing this. I went through 2 law enforcement academies. One was, I think, like 3.5 months long. The other one was about the same, but then had a two or 3 week add-on academy that I had to go back to. That was like the advanced kind of like, I don't know, like you're in the general academy and then your agency has the kind of like follow-on thing. And so it's a long stretch, right? It's like a semester at college. And if you're constantly thinking about, the end instead of the moment that you're in, instead of getting through the next block of training, it grinds away at you. It takes away from your motivation, from your ability to get up and go again the next day, because you're looking and setting your sights way down the road. I can tell you from talking to guys who are SEALs, from talking to guys who are Rangers, they apply that same mindset to their training, to their difficult training experience, whether it's BUDS, whether it's, I think it's called RASP now, that the Rangers go through. The successful ones never waste an ounce of energy worrying about their next training evolution. It was, where am I right now? How do I get through this, right? You don't spend energy on what might be this afternoon, after lunch, tomorrow, the next day, the next week, the week after that, all the way up until graduation day. You focus in the present moment on getting through this to the best of your ability. And if you keep that focus firmly in the present and just keep moving, eventually the end gets closer and closer and closer, right? When you spend your days anticipating the arrival of night, as Seneca reminds us, longing for the end of your current circumstances or seeking relief from your challenges, you lose both the present moment and your peace of mind by constantly introducing anxiety about what lies ahead. That's why the most successful candidates, again, whether it's a law enforcement academy or a difficult military training program, don't spend any calories on that. You don't spend any calories introducing anxiety about what lies ahead, because you lose your ability to operate at your highest capacity in the present moment and your peace of mind. So just get there when you get there. Work in the present moment. Now, this isn't limited to, again, law enforcement, military applications. Nick Saban, the former Alabama football coach, he's now an ESPN college game day analyst. I think he still has a role at the University of Alabama, just not as head coach. I think he's like a affiliated with the program in some sort of analytical way or oversight way. But long story short, Nick Saban was the legendary coach. I forget how many national championships he's won, both with Alabama and LSU. And his antidote and the way that he trained his players was very similar. And he called this training philosophy the process. Now, if you know anything about college football, you're probably familiar with this. So I'm not going to go into Saban wrote a whole book about it. But essentially what it is it boils down Saban's theory of training. He emphasizes the importance of focusing on the present moment and consistently executing fundamental tasks with discipline and excellence in the present moment. And what he's essentially saying is every football play is 7 seconds long on average, right? From the time the ball is snapped until the time the play is complete, the average football play is about 7 seconds long. And his whole point is focus on being excellent, disciplined, handling the tasks that are fundamental to your job with as much excellence and capacity as possible. For those 7 seconds, reset and do it again. Constantly focus on the 7 seconds in front of your face. Don't worry about the scoreboard. Don't worry about the AP ranking or the coaches poll or whatever it is called and how they determine your rank. Don't worry about your next opponent. Don't worry about what happens if we lose and they win. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Worry about the 7 seconds in front of your face and taking care of them to a degree of excellence and discipline that would make it difficult for you to fail. And if over the course of a game, and then if over the course of a series of games over the course of the season, you can do that effectively, you can focus on the process, you can be excellent and disciplined for 7 seconds at a time, again and again and again and again, without being distracted by what's coming down the road or without getting wound up or worked up about the next game or the next poll or the next ranking. Those things will take care of themselves. And again, it's tested to the point where it's been highly successful in Saban's coaching career, leading to numerous championships and a culture of sustained excellence at the University of Alabama. I recognize that I am recording this, the day after the final rankings came out. I think Alabama was ranked like number 11, but they didn't make the college playoff because of some, just you got to choose 12 teams, and and they weren't one of the 12 that got chosen for various reasons. So I recognize that I'm recording this and talking about Alabama football after they didn't make the college football playoff, but they still had a great season. They went, I think, 9-3 in the SEC, which is nothing to sneeze at. And I know they don't have Saban as their coach anymore, but they still employ a lot of the techniques that made him a successful head coach. And this is one of them. You can see the same thing in professional football. I'm a New England Patriots fan, which is hard these days, but, we don't complain after 2 decades of sustained excellence. But the reason they had 2 decades of sustained excellence was a similar theory to Nick Saban, his friend Bill Belichick. They were coaches together as they were young assistants. They know each other well. They have very similar philosophies about coaching, and they applied those philosophies in a very similar manner to how they coached at the college level and the pro level. Belichick was always harping on the concept of do your job. In other words, don't worry about anything outside of what is your responsibility, focusing on doing your job with discipline and excellence every single day. And if everyone here does their job, from the coaches down to the water boy, from the quarterback down to the long snapper, if everybody does their job with discipline and excellence, then the results take care of themselves. Focus on doing your job and doing it well. It's the same thing as focusing on those 7 seconds in front of your face. So listen, in addition to making us better at our jobs by staying present and embracing the current moment, we can also make the most of our days. We can also make ourselves more content in the here and now. We let go of excessive worry. We let go of anxiety. It allows us to engage fully with our lives. It allows us to appreciate the world around us. It allows us to cultivate a sense of inner peace. I know we all get that point where something is out of our hands. We apply for the promotion. We apply for the job, and we do the interview and now we're just waiting for someone else to make a decision. And we can sit there with the anxiety of the unknown, ruining and spoiling ourselves in the present moment. When you start to feel that way, when you start to feel that anxiety or that anticipation of something that's coming or may not be coming or that you can't do anything about, that is outside of your control, that is external, and you recognize that, that's when you need to stop, catch those feelings, ask yourself, is this helpful? Am I robbing the present moment with my fear of the future? You've got to catch yourself when you're doing it and clear those feelings because they do you no good. I do this as much as anyone else. We all do it. The point that Seneca is making, the point that the Stoics make, is that we shouldn't, and that we have to be conscious to avoid it and to focus on those 7 seconds in front of our face, as Nick Saban would tell us, to do our job, as Bill Belichick would tell us, to don't worry about the external, as Epictetus would tell us. So let me leave you with the journal prompt, get you on your way here. Ask yourself, what am I anticipating right now? What am I anticipating that is introducing anxiety into my life, that is robbing me of the present moment? What am I doing that is taking me away from focusing on my job, focusing on the 7 seconds in front of my face, being excellent in the here and now? What am I doing? What am I anticipating that is taking all that away from me? Because as Seneca said, we lose the day in expectation of the night, and the night in fear of the dawn. And as Seneca has also said, essentially, our reality is typically less of a problem than our imaginations make it to be, right? So stop anticipating, stop creating issues that you can do nothing about, and start focusing on the evolution that you're in right now. Folks, thanks for listening. I got 3 more episodes this week. Quick housekeeping before we get going. Last episode for the week is going to be December 13th. If you reach out to me between now and then, between Friday, December 13th, and ask me to send a signed copy of my book, In Valor, 365 Stoic Meditations for First Responders, to you or a loved one for a Christmas gift, I can pretty much guarantee it's going to get there before Christmas. I typically send items out media mail, and if it's domestic U.S. shipping, it's going to get there before Christmas Eve. So as long as you reach out to me by the end of this week, by December 13th, I can take payment in a number of different ways. And, just depending on where you are, it changes the shipping a little bit. But for about $20, which is lower than retail price on Amazon, I can get you a signed copy of my book. So reach out, and I will get all your details. We'll exchange details. And as long as you do it before December 13th, I'll be able to get that sucker in the mail and off in time for Christmas. If you've got a loved one who wants to learn more about Stoicism, this is a great way for them to do it. It's going to be very similar to what you get on this podcast. It's going to give you daily quotes, contextualization that's directly relatable to your job, to your daily life, and it's going to give you some journal prompts and action items to help integrate those lessons. Again, great way to practice this philosophy, and we talk about the importance of practicing this philosophy on tomorrow, or I think on Wednesday or Thursday's episode. I forget when, so tune back in for that. All right, folks, get out there, live your lives with valor, and until next time, you are on the roll. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to subscribe, like, rate, and share this podcast so that we can spread the benefits of Stoicism to other first responders. It will only take you a few moments, but it can help us tremendously. Until next time, out of roll.